Hey guys, Mouz back here for analysis of the Godsent versus Mouse Sports game, which is about to start in 4 hours. Now, both teams won against their respective teams yesterday. Well, Godsent brought a pretty close game against Dignitas, and Mouse Sports blew Tengri out of the water. Now, let's just talk about Mouse Sports really quickly here. Mouse Sports did win 16-1. There's not a lot to say here because they were just a better team with better team play and better aim than Tengri. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a little tip here. When a team such as Mousesports win in such dominant fashion against Tengri, it's really important to know that on a team who wins really easily, that every single player is going to have a good game, as you can see here. And Tengri, every single player is going to have a bad game. But the key point that I want to point out is if this didn't happen yesterday, if a player on the winning team had a really bad game where he also goes negative, it shows that he's been having an exceptionally bad game. And if a player on the losing team had a pretty good game and let's say has a rating above like 1.00 and had a positive KD, it's key to note that that player had a pretty good game, and if it wasn't for his teammates, probably would have had a much more better game. Now that's kind of relevant for today's game, but I just wanted to give you guys a little tip because that's something really important to note, and you might use it for future knowledge. And talk about Godsent, they brought it 16-14 close to Dignitas, but rather than saying Godsent really were the better team than Dignitas, I think Dignitas played pretty poorly, and their key player Fox, their opper, had a really bad showing yesterday, which is pretty disappointing because if Fox did show up, I do believe Dignitas could have clinched the win against Godsent. Now, taking into consideration yesterday's game, if we talk about form a little bit, Godsent, not so great. I'm not really impressed. And Mousesports, the dominant fashion that they showed against Tengri, kind of hard to take away really their team form. But I'm much more impressed with Mousesports than I am with Godsent. Now moving on to the map veto, it's very, very interesting because both teams want to veto Mirage. Now this is a really key point. So Mousesports is going to ban Overpass and Godsent's going to ban Inferno. And whoever bans Mirage first is going to give the advantage to the other team. Now what I mean by this is if Mousesports ban Mirage first, then Godsent are free to ban Cash, which they do not want to play against Godsent. But if Godsent veto Mirage first, I think Mousesports will have an extra veto to veto something like Cobblestone or Train, which they don't really want to play. So it pretty much depends on who vetoes Mirage first. Or, I might be completely wrong and they might play Mirage, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason I say this is Godsent did win against Mousesports on Mirage, so Mousesports might feel that they are inclined to veto Mirage first. As you can see here, if that's the case, then Godsent have a way to veto out Cash, which they don't really want to play, because Godsent with Robs is a pretty decent Cash team. So the final maps you should expect to see are either Cash or Train. And if we look at Godsent's, what is this, Cash land performance, hasn't been that great. They lost a big 16-14. And if we look at Mousesports' Cash land performance, although they won against G2 16-14, won against Hellraisers, Immortals. Okay, this is going way too back. So Hellraisers, I'm just going to double check this is the lineup with Robs. No, it's the one with Nico, so can't really take that into consideration. This should have Robs in it. Yeah, so they won against 16-14 against G2, but they lost to SK in the ESL Season 5 finals. And if you look at Train, Godsent on Train have actually been looking pretty poor online. But I'm just going to double check their land performances. Yeah, losing 16-13 to Big. Losing 16-8 to Penta. Not the greatest thing. Let's see who picked Train. Train was left over, I see. Big aren't really that comfortable on Train, so this is really alarming to see. And Mousesports Train performance. Yeah, both teams are pretty poor on Train, although no, they haven't actually played Train with Robs in an official match. But online, I do think they did win against G2. There we go. And this is the one with Robs. So both teams, they're not going to be very comfortable with the map that they play on. But still, no matter which map comes out, Cash, Train, or maybe even cobblestone, which I don't really think, Mouse Sports do have the advantage, and they have been showing better results on that map. Now the reason, and now you probably want to think about the bet that I recommend you guys, but I highly recommend that you guys should skip this match because although Mouseport is the better team, if Pronax shows up with a positive +8 KDR like yesterday, you don't know what's going to happen. And Disco Doppler, Schneider, Twist, and Lecro are all four of these are players that can win like an insane round and bring the flow back to Godsent because flow and pistol round and momentum is pretty important in CSGO. Because these four players all have the mechanical ability to show up and carry their team, it's really hard to tell which side of the player we're going to see today. If we move on to the odds, given by the odd providers for EGB and this site, these two sites, Godsent mid twos, Mousesports early fours. Because of the upset potential, I think Godsent should actually have lower odds. But other than that, because Mousesports are just simply the better team, I do agree with this, and I would not bet a round advantage for Godsent, because if these players don't show up, Mousesports can easily sweep this match. I would bet either direct win for Mousesports, or if you're feeling risky and believe that these players won't show up today, then I would bet a round disadvantage for Mousesports. However, do note that the upset potential is really, really big, as if any of these four players show up, it's going to be a pretty close game. So you could bet on that, and because the odds are so high, the odds are probably good for a round advantage for Godsent too. This has been an analysis of the Godsent Mousesports game for the PGL Major Krakow 2017 main qualifiers. Make sure to leave in the comment section below which game you want to see next. I'm going to be focusing mainly on the main qualifiers in ESL Cologne coming in about a week, so do refrain from asking games like these Australian games. Thanks for watching, guys, and to be best notified of my video uploads is to subscribe. I'm not simply saying this. I know it's cliche for every YouTuber to say this, but all the support you guys have shown me have really been inspiring me to make more higher quality content and videos. Thank you for the support you showed me until today, and thank you for watching this video.